ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the return episode of DRW Radio. Now, we are back.
Howdy.
Sierra is gone for an hour, so this will be an epic two-part event, part 1 and part 2. Now, gentlemen, on tonight's podcast, I have TJ Shadows, Brian King, Zach Zero, Miguel Roderick, Stoner, VTech, Torrance, and the legendary Chris DeLeon. Gentlemen, welcome to the podcast.
What's fun with you? You can't even mention the co-owner?
Oh, I didn't see you, Aaron. I'm sorry. And we have the co-owner, Aaron Youngblood.
Okay, question. I was promised sandwiches. Where are they?
Corner. Hide in the lobby.
What?
Okay, I'll be right back. Fucking sandwiches.
Why do you leave the sandwiches outside? They're in the lobby. The lobby's nice and warm compared to in here. Well, I have to go pee. You keep sandwiches where everybody else is.
So we're gonna start this.
To a good start.
We are gonna start this podcast off right. VTech, you.
Sandwiches. There's a mob of DRW.
TJ, shut up. Tech, you said you had a major announcement that you wanted to be heard live on the radio. So Tech, take it away.
It's good that DeLeon's here too. So, as you know, e-betting is our one sick addiction, which is a good and bad thing because it's, it's not like we're, stabbing each other with needles or anything, to hurt ourselves. We're mostly just typing away our frustrations, but it's like no matter.
You don't remember the time I stabbed you with a needle, VTech?
It was a long time ago, but I mean, you stabbed me with a needle. I didn't stab myself with it. That's
We
different.
call that father and son bonding.
Yes, right, Zach.
Those are called child abuse.
It's also called Daddy was never there because he didn't take you to the fair.
Take you to the fair.
Like I'm in that awkward stage where it's like I want to do e-fed wrestling and I don't. But at the same time, it's like I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again. So that's why every time, I come back and do something, I want to do it differently. And
Well, can I interject real quick?
yeah. Because I want your thoughts on it, because we kind of, I jumped to the podcast also, and I was like, maybe this is a time to announce it?
Well, the thing is VTech, was like, hey, da-da-da, and I was like, wait, what? And then he goes, well, blah, 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 and I was like, oh, man. He's like, well, we're doing a podcast now. I was like, that's why I called up. So, anyways, I think that we're all on the same page of the fact that there are too many egos in e-fetting, and there's too many people that want to have the spotlight, and there's too many egos, there's too many people that want to get their way, and I think what me and VTech want to do, and I know I can speak for him, is that we want to make it to where we have fun again. Because everybody's like, oh, DeLeon's running something, or oh, VTech's running something, or oh, this person's running something, or that person's running something. We just want to make it fun again. That's what this whole thing is about. And so I'm going to let him drop the bomb, because I'm going to let you know, VTech, I'm 100% on board with this, and you got my back. I got your back 100%, so I'll let you drop the bomb.
So my thing is with groups, groups where I found most of my success, but it's also where I found most of my trouble, because everyone can just voice their opinion, and you either ban the person on the spot, or you kind of elevate them. The person doesn't really get buried, because they just really don't. They voice their opinion, they don't. And so I was thinking it'd be best to bring back NJPW, House of Hardcore. Give or take, I'll probably switch up the House of Hardcore name, something like that, but it'd still be, NJPW. I want to keep the style how it was, where, it had that Japanese feel to it, and then translation, with all the pictures and custom stuff like that. I think I'll keep calls be allowed, but I want them to be on the back shelf. I don't want them to be on the headline, because I know Faber did really well and Knox and everybody did well with June Kazai and Punk and Ziggler's and EC3s. No, EC3 wasn't big at this time, but as a person, he's big now. But another reason why I want to do NJPW as a page instead of going back to HOPW, and I'll let Randy, Joey, and Cole, Strong, all them do that. It's kind of like their thing. It's like, you know, I can go to a forum, I can go to a page, I can go to a group, but it's like after a while, groups really get to me with people, whereas pages never really got to me because people didn't really like speak their mind and their complaints, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But I think with NJPW, what I want to do this time is I want to have a revolving door of general managers, because I kind of want it to be like how NCW kind of was, how NWF was, if you remember that, Joey, and kind of how what was it, WWW, I believe, because it had that, you didn't know who was running the show behind, and as long as the show was going, it didn't really matter. So, yeah.
Well, back in the forums days, that's how it was. I mean, you kind of knew who was running the show, but at the same time, you did your thing. You just did your thing, and nobody does their thing anymore. Everybody's like, well, you said the show was going to be on Friday. Where's the results? And then you have like people that don't want to write shows. I'm not blaming show writers. I'm just saying that people want the show written, but they're not willing to step up and help.
Exactly.
I don't think I could ever go back to a forum because of the people that I've met just won't go back to forums anymore. Like, I know if I ask James Knight or Collins or like some of the younger guys who aren't really over yet but are still trying to get to that spotlight, they'll jump on that bandwagon. But like, Zach will do it for a day. Connor just got too much to do anything else.
Yeah.
Stoner would never go to a forum. Malin would never go to a forum. TJ might do it once.
I think if I didn't have,
never again.
I think if I didn't have DRW, I think I would probably go to forums. And see, that's the thing, you know, like, I've sat here multiple times and debated, you know, is DRW what I want to do? And, you know, through battles of depression and everything, like, I really gotta say, like, as much as people hate group feds and as much drama is in a group fed, this fed has kept me basically alive.
And it's like I have that love for HOPW because it's like, side story, URW, it was all my creation, but it had a bad taste because, you know, Nate took credit for that, for giving the name to Donald. So it was like my original creation back in the day with, you know, Christopher Chartier and all them. And Torrance was there, and so was Ryan Pettigo, you know him.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wait, I was where?
The original URW with Christopher Chartier, Ryan Pettigo. The original, my version with the reels and the calls also.
Yeah, your version was a hell of a lot better.
It didn't last as long because it went from URW because I started that, but then GWF came back, and so I did my last couple of days there with Caleb Folden. And so...
Are you talking about the GWF before Jim Foster took over?
No, this was the final days of GWF when we were doing the final countdown pay-per-view, and that's when I...
Was I there yet?
Yeah, you were doing the last main event with Malm, remember? That was the very last pay-per-view for that era, before Watt was supposed to be GM, and then you, I think you came in and was GM because Watt didn't work out so well.
Yeah, I remember. It was such a weird thing when Malm came to me and asked me if I wanted to be GM. I was like,
it was 3 years ago. It's crazy.
I was like, sure. And that's when I met Rainey and Nate, and I already knew you.
It's just a shame.
I think I met Miguel. No, I didn't meet Miguel till just recently.
I didn't meet Miguel until he was doing the Dirty Mike gimmick.
That's another. I gotta go ahead and say, like, Miguel's one of those guys who's just like he's right there. You know what I mean? He's right there. He just needs a
like
he needs somebody to push him because he's got it.
Like, I gotta say, like, I can speak for every Fed owner, you know, awards or not, if every E-Fed would come together and have an E-Fed breakout star of the year, I gotta agree with Rainey when he said Miguel was the breakout star. I mean, think about it. He took DRW over. Every Fed I went to, I saw Miguel on top, and I was like, Miguel's got this. Yeah, and that's why I didn't even jump into the Feds. I was like, Miguel's got this. I don't need to be here. Like,
You're reigning EWC World Television Champion.
yeah, and he's a former DRW World Champion. He won the once in a lifetime. He won the once in a lifetime.
World Television Champion.
Like, he's done so much in DRW alone that, like, I felt like he deserved the breakout star of the year, and that's where I kind of got fucked up because I let it go to a vote. And
You did.
granted, you know, Miguel, he is breakout star of the year in every EFED. I don't give a fuck like what you say. That guy was on the top of the card and he busted his ass and he put time in. He did what none of us could do. He put time in and he never walked away. He put time in, got the job done.
There were times where it was iffy.
Well, that, and he helped me so much with show writing. Like, I could go to him any time of the day and be like, bro, I need this match done in an hour. I'd go back an hour later, he'd have that match done and then some.
I wonder why.
I'm trying to think. So, Connor,
Yeah.
you've been doing this for a while, and for the most part, you did the WRP thing.
I did 6 years in E-Fetting, and in those 6 years, I also did like a year and a half in WRP.
Here was the big thing which I was thinking when I was bringing this back. Do I keep it how it was with, like, the cause and then real wrestlers, or not, yeah, real wrestlers, but then cause can be accepted? Or do I just keep it, real wrestlers only?
If you do the Caw thing, and, you know, somebody, like, say if I went in there with the Chris Zero gimmick, I'm not going to because he's retiring in April, but if I went in there with the Chris Zero gimmick, and, you know, his pick base is Kevin Owens, you know, somebody's going to come into the Fed and be like, oh, hey, I choose Kevin Owens as a Fed. Then you got that whole little, well, this guy's already using Kevin Owens as a pick base, and he's like, well, I want to be the real Kevin Owens. Then, you know, it's just...
Well, then what if you have a guy that's like, okay, Chris Zero, and then you got Kevin Owens, and then you got the guy that goes, well, I want to be Kevin Steen.
Yeah, then you got that guy.
Yeah.
That asshole. That fucking... It's like the same thing with the CM Punk thing, you know. There's so many different variations of CM Punk.
I was just gonna go there.
Like, you know, you sit there and you say that, oh, you need to make it fun again. It's not that. It just pick bases took off. Like, that thing went way higher than what it needed to go.
Well, I think what, like, if we're gonna do this, VTech, we may as well do, like, you know, when you go onto a forum, the pick base is taken. Period. You know, that's it. If like I come in as Chris DeLeon, which I am, and I do a long-haired Chris Jericho pick base, then nobody can come in and say, well, I'm going to be long-haired Chris Jericho.
Or short-haired Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and, like, if somebody decides they're going to be, like, an AJ Styles, or, you know, I don't know.
See, the thing is, I just feel like you guys are trying to run away from the drama, but you guys got to realize that, like, with feds and everything, it doesn't matter if you're a forum, if you're a page, if you're a group, or if you're whatever you're doing, you know, there's gonna be drama. There's gonna be that one asshole that bitches. Like,
most forums don't have drama, though.
Yeah, that's the cool thing, unless some guy posts what everybody's calling now a pipe bomb, which was a rant back when I was, you know, living.
So,
it's a fucking rant, guys, not a pipe bomb. Punk said it one time. All right, Cole, say what you're saying.
So, what I realize is, forum feathers don't usually come to Facebook. Because Facebook is a social media site. Forums, you can keep to yourself and do everything. But if you put a forum guy in an E-Fed, if you have an E-Feder in a forum, it's just going to be drama.
Well, see, my thing with the forums is, you know, you don't know, like, who is who. And then you can have that one guy that, like, technically could main event himself. That, like, Nate, he was the man of 1,000 gimmicks, we all called him. What if we had, what was it, Kenneth Taylor versus, what was another gimmick, versus Damian Douglas. Yeah, you would have Nate Faber in the main event, period.
My thing is, like, I don't want the page, because for the most part, every time I've dealt with pages, running them, it's more of staff getting into it, because every time I've ran a group, I've never had to deal with my general managers or staff, because I know Joey isn't lucky, because every time Joey's ever had to deal with a group, he had to deal with staff, whereas with Pages, every time I had to deal with Pages, it was staff. So I was like, I don't want that to be a problem of getting into it with everybody. So it's like
my main problem when I first started running feds, my main problem, and I don't remember whether it was Rainy or Stoner. One of them, it might have been Rainy, it might have been Stoner, because I know it was Rainy because I didn't know Stoner at the time. Rainy told me that I would say, oh, I'll compete, but I'm not going to put myself over. I'm going to compete, but I'm not going to put myself over. And Rainy came to me one day and was like, you say that all the time, but you always put yourself over. So that was my biggest problem.
Well, my thing is,
put myself over. I would always put myself over.
I feel like there's more drama in putting people over now because, you got... I just feel like it's overrated with the whole putting people over thing now because, alright, I've been in the business, 6 years, almost 7, and nobody,
Pup.
I've been champion. I don't need to be in the spotlight in that fed, but there's a fed out there I haven't been in that I haven't gotten over in. So, and it's a thing. If you get over in a fed, it just kind of hits your ego, and you're like, hey, I want to be over everywhere again. And then
I think the thing that we might want to do, I can put it out here on DRW Radio, is we could go back to the old match writing thing to where me versus you, and we have to write the match. We write 80 to 90% of the match, and then we give it over to the owner or the staff, and they write the end, and they pick the over. And if you go over, you go over, and if you don't, you don't.
They won't do that on a page, because Cordarius that doesn't work out.
Exactly.
My thing is, what I'm kind of curious about, because, so e-fetting is much like the real wrestling industry. It's hard to make stars, in terms of, okay, my friend
Others will accept
Ruthless Aggression. You have Mick Foley and Randy Orton. Neither of them was really at that moment of, pinnacle stardom. Mick Foley was there, but it just accelerated him because it was dang. Randy Orton, that made him a star. Whereas, you can't just put, sadly, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins together in a match, because as much as I love that match in the steel cage, there was just nothing to it that made it stand out, which is my big problem with e-fetting is you can't just do, for example, let's say Josh Collins versus Jacob DeLeon.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make either one a star nowadays, which is sad. Whereas if you say Christian Rainey or even VTech versus Jacob DeLeon with Chris DeLeon beside him, that's instant gold main event of WrestleMania right there, and it's overly blown out proportion.
Well, see, my thing is, what DRW was doing for a while, a few months ago, I was just making matches to just, see how it went. And it was more of I was basing it more on honor than I was storytelling and shit, which was original.
That's what I did too.
Which to me it felt original because everybody was doing, storytelling and shit, which is great if you can tell a good story, but I was doing out of honor and respect, and it created a lot of friendship and it created a lot of enemies with people. Yeah. Honestly, one of the matches that I did that really got over without a story was TJ versus Miguel. That match got over so bad in DRW. People saw that match booked. They saw the promos that went with it that made the match get over, and everybody was like, that's going to be match of the year. Yeah. Torrance versus Knox really was one of the only feuds I worked on last year, and that match won match of the year because they were both tag partners. And then Knox turned on him, and then bam, he had Knox and Banks, and that, it told a great story.
Yeah, it did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every minute of it, honestly.
It just matters how you do it. You can randomly book some matches, but if you're wanting to put that match at the top of your marquee, my best advice is fucking build it. Do a few months of them trading back and forth, or something like that, and then make the match happen, like Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor.
Yeah, you have to build that.
Yeah.
The thing is like, that's the reason that I, just kind of throw it in there. That's the reason why I'm trying to get people to sign up for the Super Show I'm having at the end of the month. And the thing is what I want to do is I want to take all these different big, huge, quote-unquote stars and put them all on a show to where, when you had Ric Flair versus Sting, or like the New Japan Pro Wrestlers versus the guys in ROH. You went and you put all your stars on one card, and you built this card, and you took that.
Yeah,
card,
see, I kind of wanted
that card, and you built in every other company that your Ric Flair is in NWA, so you have him go to New Japan, and you have him wrestle your New Japan, and then you have Ric Flair come back, and he starts, that gets him over. You have let's say you have your Josh. Well, I think this would be a great match. Josh Collins versus VTech.
I don't know why, but I think Josh Collins versus Randy, even though it's already happened, but like as a legit just one-on-one without the third man, because there was a third man, I think that would be better. Because like there's more noticeable traits between the two than there was like with VTech.
Well, sometimes
I would love to face Collins, but
sometimes you also got to take like legit drama and make it a match too, because it adds more to it. Like what I did, I'm making Brian King versus Adam Rush because Brian and Mia legitly have problems, and it's gonna make out to be a bloody feud.
We did that with you and Mia, and that was gold right there.
Yeah,
Brian doesn't have problems with Mia.
It just starts problems though, because like look at me and Joey, because we did DeLeon and Edge, beautiful match, but I think it started more problems that didn't get resolved for 3-4 months.
And now, exactly. I was gonna say that now, almost like 2 years later, me and VTech, a lot of people know that me and VTech since then we've had our clashes. And here we are on a call talking about putting a company together.
Well, see, like, what I wanted to do something a few months ago that I guess nobody really ever caught the idea of. Like, you know how there's, like, 5,000 Facebook feds, right? I wanted to take, groups. say like, the top 5 groups and, like, put them all in one group and have, like, the separate shows and shit like DRW, HOPW, EWC, RRW, MCW, or whatever's going on. And then, like, say April 3rd is Dark Mania, April 4th is fucking whatever, and then like, it was like a super fed, kind of like a WWE network, except for, there was something constantly going, like of difference. Like there wasn't just DRW or there wasn't just HOPW, there was everything.
That did not work. Because everyone has their own ego.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, ego, that's one of the things where ego kills it. I said that at
the beginning, and I said it at the end.
My problem with the whole Superfed idea is the fact that, NBW exclusive, Jacob DeLeon, EWC exclusive, Ducade, and then you had the guys who wanted to be HOPW exclusives, and then you have BTW exclusives, and it's like, that was a big problem with, remember, EWC, DRW, and HOPW, I had, like, all the guys, and then it was, like, that moment of, you send Curtis Strong out there, and it was, like, no, it was, like, we need Curtis Strong. Like, now that I look back on it, Curtis Strong needed to lose in EWC or DRW, because if he didn't lose in those companies, he would just steamroll, and then everybody would come to HOPW, and that would kill all the competition for actual EFEDs. And so I think that's why I like going back to the pages, is because there's not really much competition in pages. It's just NCW who's got their own style, and then there's my style who represents like groups, but it's like the people of groups who go down to pages, and then you have Lucha, just like hardcore storyline.
Yeah, Lucha was pretty fun. I enjoyed my run in Lucha.
That's why I was kind of like looking back on it. I was like, Curtis Strong.
Well,
I didn't want him.
Another thing that really fuels the E-Fedders is like
Wait. There's a Lucha?
Yeah, Lucha Underground.
Yeah,
Brian runs
Ryan
it.
Mallon.
What's that company? You're just hearing about this?
There's a Lucha Underground E-Fed?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a page. It's a page.
How do you not know about it, DeLeon? Even I know about it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We talked about it when Rainey and Cole were over at my house last week on New Year's. It was beautiful. We talked about how much we loved it.
Okay.
I think they're doing a new season, I guess.
Yeah.
They do it by season.
And see, like, another thing that fuels e-fedders is, like, doing stuff that they, like, know about. Like, I feel like I get a lot more of attention in DRW from fedders when I, like, mention, hey, we're going to have a show in Japan because people actually want to go to Japan. Or, hey, we're going to have a show in Madison Square Garden, because I love wrestling in New York. Like, I would love to wrestle in New York. And then, like, somebody got a real big fucking hard-on when I said, oh, and in March we're going to Canada. Somebody was like, Montreal! And I was like, there's more than one city, but alright, I'll take it.
I love Ireland, I will tell you that.
Yeah, my show I did in Ireland.
Dublin,
People
Ireland.
flew the fuck off the hinges.
Where is every single show I've ever held? Where does it happen?
Ireland.
No.
What?
No, Jacksonville.
Every single show I've had.
I don't know. I don't pay attention.
We can tell.
Where does GWF 2.0? Where was every single show?
Florida.
Jacksonville,
Yeah.
Florida.
Because fuck everywhere else.
See, like, that's where, like, I got a lot of good reaction from the tour date thing I was doing. Because, like, right now DRW's on the UK tour, and then we're gonna go to
Sucks.
what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And then we're going to Japan, and then Canada, and then back to the
Who
States.
cares about DRW?
I don't know DRW. Fuck off.
It's DRW Radio.
Yeah.
This
Thanks.
is why we needed sandwiches, but
Thanks,
no one listens.
DeLeon. Thank
This
you.
isn't even DRW Radio anymore. It's just Zero Flex Given now.
This is DRW given. Welcome back to Zero Fucks Given. The DRW
Cole overhaul.
Well, I just said this in a tailspin, didn't I?
Oh yeah. Thanks, bro.
You're welcome.
Remember when Delia cussed me out 52 times?
Not 51. 50.
52, I counted.
Are you sure it wasn't 53?
That last one was no. We counted. The last one was not a curse word because it's in the Bible.
what, I thought it was 69.
Which time did I cuss you out?
No, it was during the podcast. It was just you and Connor. This was the pinnacle of, like, nothing was going on. Nothing was going on in between, like, groups that were, like, actually known. Everything was by podcast. So everybody was, like, listening to, like, the podcast me and Curtis Strong would do, the podcast you and Connor would do. It was beautiful because we could have got hundreds of views off of just the podcast wars.
It was great. My YouTube account benefited from it. I don't give a fuck.
We all did.
I remember that.
The thing that healed us
I
all.
remember cussing you out a lot.
The thing that healed us all was Mia's return. That healed everybody because all of us were like, "Hey, we're really close friends." Fuck you, Mia.
No, it wasn't that, Connor. It was Josh Knight.
That too. Josh Knight's return.
Fuck,
Yes.
God,
I remember. Delia.
Can we not talk about he who should never be named because he shouldn't exist?
Okay, guys, this is the
Yeah,
closing
please.
moment. Hold on. This is the
Please don't
closing
talk about it.
moments of part 1. Part 2 will be back in 15 minutes. Thank you for joining us, and we